right, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. My name is Kenny Whitmack, Standing Bear, Soda Tribe, Fishing Lake, First Nation, Saskatchewan, Canada, Treaty 4 Territory, Anishinaabe, 60 Scoop survivor, and published author. Welcome to We Are the Medicine Circle, which really implies that we are just the medicine here. We are better together. Then this is kind of what we look like right here. This is not a prop. This is medicine to show. Like a visual. It's visual medicine, but it's also. I really smell this thing. It sounds beautiful. But anyway, so that's us. We are all intertwined, overlapping, and we are a beautiful, beautiful circle. And if no one said that they love you today, I love you very much, which really simply means that I want you to live your best life. Sitting in circle and enjoying all those beautiful things that life has to offer, connected to all those beautiful things, not material things. There was a comment the other day about that. Not really material, although that can be part of it at the very end. But the first thing is always that beautiful spiritual connection. So yeah, one housekeeping announcement: if we have a little lag in the audio or the visual, just know, or if you get kicked off, or if I get kicked off, just know that that I'm not going anywhere. I'm just going to hit that the live button again and just finish up where we left off there. So all right, so let us have a little four-legged outside doing the four-legged prayer this morning, so that's good. So, also as usual, we asked for a volunteer from this circle to keep the smoke going throughout the morning meditation. So just give me a little heart, give me a little thumbs up if you can do that for the circle. It is for the grandmother's prayer out in Vancouver, in remembrance for the residential school children that have that never got a chance to come home. So please, and thank you for that. Oh, there we go. Okay. All right. So there we go. There we go. So beautiful. Okay. So all right. So. Yeah, so let's begin in the usual way. The old one said, if it doesn't begin with prayer, then it doesn't begin. If it doesn't begin with spirit, then it doesn't begin. And so let's offer. Not that I want to add anything, but if it doesn't begin with offering, then it doesn't begin, right? So let's begin. Let's begin with prayer, offering. And if you would like to offer two with us, that would be good. And then, Wichiagna, to all my relations. Kichi Creator, Great Spirit, Great Mystery. Chi Megwich for our breath. Chi Megwich for our circle. Chi Megwich for our day. Chi Megwich for our lives. We come here today. We mean no harm in what we do. We come here in a good way. We come here in a sacred way. We come here to connect to all life. We come here to celebrate life. We come here to celebrate all nations, tribes, and circles. There could be many more reasons why we come here, but the first always is the celebration of life. Not the celebration of our personal life, but the celebration of all life. All nations, tribes, and circles, especially those nations, tribes, and circles that do not look like the two-legged. like the standing nations, the ones that offered the world breath, we say thank you. To the fish nations, the ones who teach us how to live in harmony and balance with the water. The winged nations, the ones who teach us how to live in harmony and balance with the wind and air. To the creepy crawlers and the slitheries, the ones who teach us how to stay close and grounded to Mother Earth. The four-legged nation, circles, and tribes, where we understand how much you teach us and how much you offer us. We learn so much about ourselves from what you offer. And for this we are thankful. And of course, to other two-legged nation, circles, and tribes, where we understand that you are our teachers as well. And this makes us very happy. We come here and we celebrate those things that offer us life. Air, water, fire, and earth. We celebrate the ones that have come before us, our ancestors, and remember they are our relatives here, which everything is, then they are our ancestors over there. So our ancestors are not just the two-legged. They are the first bear, the first wolf, the first eagle and beavers, and so on and so on. So we celebrate their ancestors as much as we celebrate ours. This brings us closer to a place of harmony and balance. And we also understand that some of our two-legged ancestors were hurt, wounded, abused, and traumatized, and they passed that along to us. We acknowledge that. We acknowledge that pain. We acknowledge the suffering. We acknowledge the trauma and the wounds. We acknowledge that this is a healing process and that we are all at different places in that healing process. We acknowledge that it's okay not to be okay. It's okay to be vulnerable as we move through this healing process. We acknowledge that as a necessary part of our spiritual health and wealth and healing. And it's also okay to acknowledge that that what was given to us was not ours to carry, but ours to heal from. And we don't just heal for ourselves, because that would be selfish. We come here to be selfless. Selfless means that we offer our healing to the next seven generations, where we only borrow this earth from our children, and our children are only loaned to us. So we are the intersection between two unseen worlds. A great time and opportunity. A great place of responsibility. It is privileged to be here right now and have the opportunity to heal and not to offer our wounds to the next seven generations. For our ancestors in the future generations, they hear and see what we are doing now. They understand. It doesn't have to be the way it's always been, that we have the opportunity to break those chains right here, right now. Break the chains of intergenerational trauma and the violence and the drinking and all that. And come to a beautiful place where we understand that we are all equal and have the opportunity to live a good life, a place of spiritual wealth and spiritual health. So let us acknowledge each other in this circle as a place of healing. The ancestors, that they gave us a trail to follow. But they were wise and smart, but we can only see it with our hearts. When we walk in a good way intentionally. It is the red road, the road of wellness. Nobody owns the road of wellness, but we are all caretakers of it. just as we are all caretakers of this this planet called Mother Earth, for she is our mother, and we live accordance to spiritual law, Mother Nature's law, Mother Earth's law, humility, love, truth, honesty, respect, courage, and wisdom. We are to make good relations and to be good relatives, both seen and unseen, because we live in two worlds, the physical and the spiritual. And everything begins with the spirit. So let's begin with the spirit and make good relations with humility today, with love and truth today, as we are part of Mother Earth, and Mother Earth is a part of us, that we are sitting in the same circle of life. So thank you for this. Thank you for this time and this place. Thank you for this beautiful opportunity to sit in this circle. Creator, thank you. And let us remember, let us take one little step closer to understanding, hearing, and listening to the first prayer at the center of the universe. Of harmony and balance. The ancient sacred agreements. Let us take one step closer to that today. Oh, all right. All right. Well, good morning again, everyone. Good afternoon. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are. We are a international circle, and that's a beautiful thing. So welcome. Couple things before we go over here this morning. We go over there's about 4 things. One of those things is hollow bones, and that's the reason why we are here. We are to connect to all things spiritual. We understand that there's a life force out there, and that we want to connect to that. And that life force, it looks like a lot of things. It looks like the rabbits and the beavers and the bears, but it also looks like the sunrise, the sunset, the stars, and the moon. It comes in so many beautiful forms. And we wanted to acknowledge that, and more importantly, we don't want to only to acknowledge that, we want to become a part of that, right? And the only way that we get to be a part of that is to understand, to receive that beautiful life force, to acknowledge that, and then the second part is to offer others that life force. So we are to receive, and then we are to offer. So that's the way that we live full circle right here. It's not just because we live in the world of just being takers, right? That colonial Western patriarchal world. Taking it all is not taking enough type thing, right? Greed, that entitlement to life, right? We are entitled to just take, and that keeps humanity, that keeps the earth, that keeps everything out of balance. So the way we deal with that is we come here in a good and humble way, acknowledge that we are part of a greater whole of life, and that's just one definition of hollow bones. And it's important to note that that this hollow bones, let this be a fluid thing, right? So this is not like a static definition, right? Again, that's like a colonialism where it's just static. It doesn't change as we change, as we grow in understanding with and for the spirit. And then so will that definition. And also, this was a comment too. Yes, we are supposed to share and understand our understanding of hollow bones too. So there was a comment yesterday or the day before. It's like, well, can we share our definition the way we see it? Absolutely. That's why we have the comment section there. So please feel free to comment. And again, this is not about right or wrong. This is understanding our place in the circle, and really becoming, when you offer where you are. That's really a definition of hollow bones. So we really encourage that here. Yeah. Okay, ancestors and elders, very traditional to acknowledge, thank, with gratitude those that have come before us. So thank you to Grandfather Tony Stovall, been with him for over 30 years. And thank you to all those other men and women of medicine that I have gotten the opportunity to sit with, especially those over Fishing Lake First Nation, the Muslims and Kokums over there. So thank you for guiding me in a really good and beautiful way. And, we have to note this. It's, Grandfather Tony gave me one beautiful piece of advice. He said, because I was like I really wanted to be loyal. I thought that was really part of it, and it is in some respects. But he said, um, I want you to go out and sit with as many elders as you can. And so I've had the beautiful opportunity to sit with shamans down in South America, other men and women in Europe. And you know what? The thing that I learned is there's so many right ways to connect. Right? There's so many beautiful right ways to connect. Right? Right? And so yeah. So okay. Circle medicine. Okay. Here we are. So no one's in front of us, no one's behind us, no one's above us, no one is below us. We are all equal here. We are all equal here. That's what that means. That's the definition. That is a definition for hollow bones. That is a definition for the Red Road. A definition for hollow bones. A definition for hollow bones. So there's no patriarchal colonial Western world hierarchy. This is not a religion. Where the Pope and the priest and the pastor are up here, and the rest of us are all kind of down here. This is none of that. This is exactly what this looks like. This is a braid of sweetgrass. Um, the hair, one of the four sacred herbs. The other sacred herbs are tobacco, sage, cedar, and sweetgrass. And when they meet, when we use all of them, beautiful things happen. But the circle medicine, right here, the hair of Mother Earth, right here. We are all intertwined in overlapping prayers, right here, just like this. So thank you. So thank you for that. Thank you for the medicine. Okay, sacred feminine. Okay. Um, you know, Sacred feminine, the life givers, right? It is, the Western patriarchy world, the colonial world marginalizes the very things that give us life, right? The very things that give us life, right? We do not do that here. That will always keep us out of balance. We are equal. In many ways, we are guided by the grandmothers. Before the invasion of Turtle Island, we were guided by the grandmother's counsel. Right? Right? So when the invaders came over, the soldiers came over, and they met the tribes. What would happen is they would come up to the warriors and they'd say, who was in charge, and the warriors would point at the grandmothers and said they're in charge. We were tasked with getting their will done, spiritually done, right? And so the soldiers laughed and they said, well, who's really in charge? And then so that's kind of how the chief system really got traction, right? So man-to-man type thing. Women were marginalized, man, on Turtle Island, and we were trying to make our way back. So yeah, but there's still beautiful equality there. Yeah, sacred feminine, you're beautiful, powerful. You are sacred. We acknowledge that, the life givers. We would not be here if it weren't for the life givers. So thank you for that. Okay, I had a question. We have a question of the day here. And I thought I would ask it here. I'm just kind of scrolling through here. So, scrolling through here. I usually bring this up before the thing. So hold on. Oh, question of the day, and this was really directed towards me, but but I wanted to share it with you. And you guys came up with some really beautiful things. And just give me a minute to kind of scroll through here. It says, and the question was to me, what has the Red Road standing there? What has the Red Road brought to you, right? And I kind of posted that last night when it came in. And I guess this was a repeat too. Um, you know, for me, serenity, happiness, sobriety, connection, all these beautiful things. It just really offered me a life that I couldn't get, find, receive when I was living solely in the colonial Western patriarchy world, right? Couldn't find it. Couldn't find it. Square peg, round hole type thing. I just was tripping all over myself. And, the Western patriarchy colonial world, it is designed to break us, right? It is designed to separate us. It is designed to manipulate us. And it's, like was reading a piece of Dr. Gabor Mate, and he talked about neuromarketing, right? How everything out there, everything we see is designed to manipulate us, to guide us to do it, to act a certain way, to do a certain thing, to become a better, whatever it is, consumer, or spend the money here, and no, really, I kind of thought about that, right? And what the Red Road does is really guiding me out of that quicksand, right? Because that's what the colonial world really is. Through their religions, you have to believe what we believe because we want you to be better, we want you to be good, we want you to be... And that's just, they don't want us to be better, they want us to become one of them, right? And, I pleasantly say no thank you. Living and I thought about this, right? What has the Red Road brought me, right? Beautiful connection, right? And then I started thinking about, and this is something that I want you to think about, right? The Red Road, certain medicines bring me certain things, right? So the water medicine has brought me something, right? The fire medicine, the morning medicine, the sunrise, the birds singing, the sunset, the food that we eat, those basic things like the sweetgrass, what they did? They brought a part of me back. That's what they did. You know, they brought me back to life, right? And the deal is, this is one of the greatest lines in any spiritual book that I have ever written. I've ever read, right? And this is from AA's 12-step thing, it's a recovery thing, and so it's like a price has to be paid, right? Right? One of the greatest lines, a price has to be paid. So, basically, like some sweetgrass or some sage, right? Like I would have to sit with that, pray for it, and with it to really connect to it, right? It's not enough just to use, to burn it, right? It's not enough just to burn it, right? But that's the end of what we're supposed to do, right? What we're supposed to do is, thank it, be grateful, right? This is part of the price. And you can replace this with anything: the fire, the water, whatever it is, the thunder beams and cloud, whatever it is, right? We're supposed to pray with it and pray for it to really understand it, right? And that's really what the Red Road has really taught me to do, is that instead of just taking this and assuming that is for me, and then I start to feel entitled and all this, it's really, we are here to be good relatives, right? To make good relations, right? Not just with other two-legged, but all other life, right? And my experience is that when I make good relations with those other things, both seen and unseen, right? When I give prayer, when I thank the water, when I thank the fire, when I thank Mother Earth, there's a little piece of me that comes back. There's a greater understanding. There's a gentleness, there's a nurturing. Whatever that medicine is, it makes me a better person, right? So, like if I live in that colonial Western world, you know, it denies the fact that we are Mother Earth, right? That's just a fact, right? And then like their religions, we have to believe in the him instead of the us, right? You know, that's a big difference right there. And this is not about right and wrong. This is just about you know. I would rather believe in the us. I would rather believe in Daniela and Julie and all these other beautiful spirits than the patriarchy him, right? Yeah, that's just me, right? Because back when I was struggling during my spirituality, the journey, and that's really the journey is, I really wanted to believe in him, and it just never worked. And, that Christian, Catholic, colonial, whatever those religions are, um, they said, well, you have to believe in him in order to be one of us, right? And I'm just like, nah, that doesn't believe, and we can take a run at any other of the Abrahamic religions too. I mean, I talked to a rabbi and said, one of the first things he said is like we are the chosen people, and that doesn't sound right. I'm like, yeah, I don't know about that. No, yeah. So thank you, but no thank you, right? But when I sit with Mother Earth, you know, there's nothing but love. There's love there. There's guidance. There's gentleness. There's a teaching. There's something there for me, rather than whatever else that Western colonial patriarchy world has really offered me. So this is a really beautiful question, and would love to hear your response too. Again, this is not about right and wrong. What has the Red Road brought to you, right? And this question was directed to me, but I wanted to share it with you. So anyway, okay, so we kind of have we kind of break it up a little bit this morning. So we're gonna run a little over just because that's just the way it is. So was praying last night about because I'm in prayer a lot, right? So and one of those things is recovery is a big part of my life, right? Connection to spirit, and obviously drugs and alcohol were a big part of my earlier life. And there's a story that I heard years ago. So it's like a little mini story time today. So let me get it. And this is. So just kind of close your eyes and just kind of listen to my voice. And I'm not sure where I heard this first. Um, Obviously, some rooms of recovery, people in recovery, but this is really a beautiful story, and this is really a non-indigenous story, but it's still a beautiful story, nonetheless. So. There was a father and a daughter, and the daughter was about 9 years old, and the father worked very hard all week to take care of her and the family and the house, and it was a weekend. And the father was doing a project fixing the house. And it was in the morning, and so the daughter came in and says, Daddy, let's go to the park today. Let's go to the park today. And the father, I said, no, not now. Maybe this afternoon or this evening we'll go out for some ice cream or something. But let me finish. So then a few minutes later, the daughter came rushing back in and said, Daddy, is it time now to go? And the father's like, no, I'm starting to to work here. There's a lot of stuff I have to do here at home, and really tried to take his time and explain to the daughter what he had to do. And so the daughter walked off and said, okay. And then 5 minutes later, the daughter came back, and this happened on and on all morning. So the father got an idea. The father said, let me find a project for her to do. So the father went to the closet and kind of rummaged through and found a puzzle. I said, good. And it was a map of the world. Had all the continents and the oceans and the countries, and they were all color coded, and said, yeah, this is a great project. So called the daughter in and said, hey, honey, I want you to put this puzzle together, and after, it's a puzzle of the world, and after you're finished, then we can do whatever you want to do. And so the daughter eyes lit up and said, this is great, this is beautiful. This is great, this is beautiful. And so she took the puzzle, the map of the world, and ran into the other room. And finally, the father could settle in and get some work done. And so we started to work again. About 10 minutes later, the daughter ran in and said, Daddy, I'm done. Let's go now. And so the father looked over and said, what? You finished this whole puzzle. How could you finish this whole puzzle? It's a map of the world. And the daughter said, I know. And the father asked, how did you do this so quick? And so the daughter looked up to him and said, well, I found a man on the back of the puzzle. And when I put the man together, the world came together. And I remember hearing that, years ago, and really taught me what was important, what was first, what was really, and I've thought about that since, right? Thought about putting and really I thought about it in terms of putting myself together, right? How, coming from that place of trauma, coming from those behaviors, from that trauma, drinking is a problem, but not the problem, right? The Western colonial world thinks that's the problem, but it's not. That's just a behavior from the problem, right? I was trying to dealing with the drinking and not dealing with me, right? And so what the Red Road is, it brought me back to this beautiful place of finding myself, right? When I put myself back together again, I found pieces of me. And this is what's different than the 12-step program, right? This is what's different than any kind of recovery program, right? When we want to be whole, we have to go back to that beautiful place of Mother Earth, right? That means we learn how to sing, to dance, to speak the language, right? To really have a good communication and honoring that connection that is Mother Earth, right? I can't put me together without having a relationship with Mother Earth, right? That's really the deal. That's like the deeper key, right? And so when people, people ask me for help all the time, and they're like, I got a problem drinking, and I got a boyfriend or a girlfriend, and like I can't keep that relationship happy because we're always fighting. And I said, well, that's probably not the relationship that you should be worried about right now, right? My suggestion would be is to build a good relationship with the spirit and all those spiritual things, right? Mother Earth is a spirit, the water has a spirit, so build those relationships with with them first, right? And my experience is when I started, and really nobody taught me this. Well, except Grandfather Tony. And it was like, you know, recovery and the red road, right? Right. Recovery is the red road. The road it is the road of wellness, right? Right. Right. So when I made a good relationship with the power and the gentleness, the flow of the water, then I realized that I was the water and was already those things. I just didn't realize it, right? You know, it goes for, I'm a new beginnings kind of guy because that's the way that I love the sunrise. I love the sunset, and I just sit there and I watch and I offer, right? So new beginnings, so how many of us out there allow ourselves to begin again? And to begin again, the true meaning of that is beginning without shame. Right? Right. Once it's hard to begin again when we're carrying that shame. It's like a weight, right? Right. We hear what we're supposed to do, what we should do in the colonial world, but that doesn't match the spirit of who we are. Because when we attach the blame, shame, and guilt, then it kills new beginnings, right? You know? Right. So when we really understand the water, we really understand new beginnings, they work cohesively together to create something beautiful. And that beautiful thing in my journey was I really found the beautiful part of myself without any blame, shame, or guilt. Right? Right. If we are carrying that blame, shame, or guilt, we're carrying, I don't know. It's like new beginnings. That sounds like another vicious circle where we beat ourselves up. Oh, I can't believe we did it again. Effing this, effing that. And then and then what usually happens in my experience is that vicious circle happens again, and we come full circle, and then we drink again, right? Or to do whatever again. So. Anyway, wanted to share that story. Don't know why, but apparently somebody out there that guided by spirit, and so I was driving home from a meeting of recovery yesterday, and that popped in. So I came right home and I wrote that down because I don't want to miss that opportunity. So, okay, so we are here. Kind of hate to, so we're just going to run over a little bit. So please. Please forgive me. We are going over Whispers from the Hollow Bone, December 27th. So if we could put that in the so if we could put this in the feed, please, and thank you. If you're new here, what we are going to do is we are going to read it a couple of times, then we're going to develop a general impression. This is not about right or wrong. This is understanding our truth and where we are beginning, and we are, some of us are new on our spiritual journey, and again, this is not about right or wrong, right? When we add right or wrong to the equation, then we add, blame, shame, or guilt, right? Right? We don't want to do that. We want to honor the place where we are. So some of us have been here for 40 or 50 years walking the red road. Some of us have had a drink in the last 24. And so understanding that's okay. That's okay. Nobody's here to judge or have an opinion, right? We are all here to love each other, honor each other, and where we are. That is the definition of equality, right? Being equal, right? Not about good or bad, color, race, religion, anything like that. This is about understanding our journey and where we are. Okay, so if we get a volunteer to put Whispers from the Hollow Bone on December 27th in the feed. Creator, teach me to see things I cannot see with my eyes, and learn to listen to those things I cannot hear with my ears. Wow. Sounds like recovery, right? Creator, teach me to see things I cannot see with my eyes, and to learn to listen to those things I cannot hear with my ears. Wow, what does that mean to you? This is beautiful, powerful. What is this saying to you? Like that initial impression, right? Like that's what we're looking for, right? You know, for me, I've been doing this for a little while, right? So, but this is still beautiful. Brought tears to my eyes when I read this because it reminded me, right, that there's a place beyond beauty, right? Right. There's another place for me beyond the beauty, right? There's a place of growth, right? Right. And just think about that. In fact, write that down, right? There's a place beyond beautiful for you, right? There's a beautiful, gentle, nurturing place beyond the beyond, to see beyond the beyond, the teaching beyond the beyond. That tells us, that tells me that there's a place for growth and a place that just gets beautiful and a place that just gets better, right? Right. So, well, to put it into perspective for me, remember grandfather, I get an elder. Like I want to say grandfather Tony, but I'm not quite sure it was him. So this is a while ago. So, like the universe, and I'm going to butcher this number. It's like 13.7 billion years old, and I've been around for 30 years. Walking the red road for 30 years. What do I know? I know very little. If you know, that's a fact, right? So, like we look at that timeline, that's how much wisdom and beauty there is out there. So, like if we want to put a measurement on it, it's 13.7 billion years old, and I've been around for 30 years. And so, you know, that's how much I know, right? So, that leaves me and understanding that there's a beautiful place, right? Right? A beautiful place for growth, right? Right. And just sit with that, right? There's a beautiful place for growth for you. Right? There's a beautiful, nurturing, gentle place for you. Right? And it doesn't matter, creator's not here. Okay, you've been here for 3 minutes. I'm not quite sure, right? Well, no, Wayne, you've been here for 30 years. That's not quite. No, 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 no. So the circle medicine is, let's go back to the circle medicine. We go round and round. We have become full circle. So what does that mean? We have become full circle. That means we understand that there's always room for growth, right? And that could be a definition for love, humility, truth, right? Courage to keep going, and even our years signify that. The seasons, the medicine wheel signifies that too, because we don't have just one spring, right? Every year we have a new spring, right? Every year there's a time for reflection. That's the north month, right? The north direction, a time for reflection, a time to look at ourselves, what no longer serves ourselves, right? No longer serves life, right? And that is a time, that's a beautiful death when we bring death to those things that no longer serve our life, right? You know, I'm not even sure if I'm talking about the reading. Like, can we get back to the reading here? So anyway, creator. I think everybody understands what and kind of the broad definition of creator. There's something here that created everything, right? Created light, created the stars, created the water, created all these beautiful things, right? That created life, right? So let's just keep that definition right there. To teach, okay. What's the spiritual definition of teach? We have to understand this. Right? What's your definition of the spiritual? And remember, there's no right or wrong here, right? Teach, right? Right. Right. The colonial definition, and again, I don't like going over like the colonial definition, but it gives us a starting point, right? Right. And this is not about right or wrong. This is just a starting point. Explain, show, offer information. But let's go a little deeper. Let's go a little deeper here. Like, what's the spiritual definition of teach? The opportunity to grow, to see beyond the beyond, right? Right. Um, what here in Mother Earth realms is physical realms? Who teaches us that? Right? There's medicine here that teaches us that, right? All right, and the medicine that Grandfather Tony taught me was Grandmother Mole, right? She's blind, but she is grounded in earth, and she's able to see those things without eyes, right? Right. Grandmother Mole, Sacred Feminine, right? And, Grandfather Tony and those 5 or 6 stories with Grandmother Mole, right? To be able to see beyond and beyond, right? So let's start with the basic understanding that there is something beyond our understanding, right? And that's really what we're talking about is what do we understand, what do we know, right? Well, again, the spiritual, the humility says, let's add humility message. So humility says, look, there's something out there and there's something greater and beautiful that I get to be a part of, right? Right. And how beautiful is that, right? You get to Sybil, Tammy, Beverly, David, like everyone here, Julie, um, that there's a beautiful place for you, a beautiful, gentle place, um, a more loving, gentle place for you, right? You are not forgotten, Again, let's go back to, what has the Red Road brought you, right? Well, the understanding here is that there's a beautiful place for me in growth and love and understanding that I will become more a part of teaching me. So let's go on. We'll take a really long time this one. So we, us, and our. We usually talk about we, us, and our. In fact, I really point that out because the Spirit says, look, we have to understand that we are more powerful together, right? But sometimes, the Great Spirit says, look, let's pump those brakes a little bit. Let's really understand that we are part of a greater whole, and that is the me aspect of the we, right? Right, and that you can write down. So they're very specific here, right? There's really talking about specific things, some beautiful specific things. And guess what? That's you. 30 years ago, I started to understand that, hey, look, that's me, right? I identified with the trauma and not those beautiful things. So for me, in the very beginning, Beyond and Beyond was I stopped identifying with the trauma and started to understand the Red Road, that I am part of something absolutely beautiful, and that I am part of something beautiful, right? And that I have something to offer that nobody else in this world has to offer, that I am unique. I am beautiful, unique, and that's what makes the spiritually sacred, right? And then I get to walk and offer this to the rest of the world. And you know what? And each and every one of us has that beautiful opportunity. We are not robots, right? We all look different for a reason, because we all carry different medicine, right? And you all have, there's a beautiful place for you, deeper, deeper. The more we walk this beautiful place, the Red Road, right, for you. So me, right. Me, to see things I cannot see, right? What does that mean? Right. Right. To see things I cannot see. Right. If we were to bring humility in here, what would that look like? That means simply that there's a place of growth. Right? So for you, everyone out there, that there's a beautiful place for growth. Right? To see beyond. Right? So it's not enough for me to sit here and tell you that there's a beautiful place. Again, let's go back to that recovery quote, that there's a price has to be paid, right? You know, this ceremony may end, but the ceremony in you does not end. That means we have to sit with. That means we have to listen to, right? Right? There's something greater there for us to see, right? See things I cannot see, because when we're wounded, it's like having the blinders on, right? Like the horse blinders, right? We can only see about 5 feet in front of us, right? Um, so the truth is, and that's our truth. That was my truth. That before the healing process, that I could only see 5 feet more right in front of me. I couldn't see to my spiritual peripherals, right? I couldn't see what was behind me, right? 'Cause I was too scared to look back. And when I was too scared to look back, I was too scared to look forward too, because everything has to mirror each other, right? So let's so, but when we start walking the red road, you know, those blinders just kind of fade out, and we get the opportunity to look around at each other, and when we look around, that spiritually looks like compassion, right? Like, how do you become compassionate? Well, we start walking this red road. We start offering compassion to ourselves, right? To see beyond the machine. To see. So, like, if I'm not compassionate with myself, then I'm not compassionate with you. Hurt people, right? Yeah. Yeah. But when I start taking in that full circle of medicine, when I start walking the red road, when I start thinking about new beginnings, and and this is like a generalization right here, like new beginnings, the sunrise, right? The water allowing allowing that flowing harmony. Let's not call it water. Let's call it flowing harmony, right? Allowing that flowing harmony to freely flow through me, right? Because that's what we're supposed to do. That's the way we see beyond, right? And here, and again, learn to listen. I'm going to speed this up a little bit. Learn to listen to those things I cannot hear with my ears, right? Right. When we hear from our ears, we are very limited, right? And some people say, "Oh," and some people, are so spiritual. "Oh, I only listen from my heart." Well, that's okay, right? Right. That's part of it, but that's not all of it, right? You know, our ancestors. Um, my indigenous ancestors, grandmothers said we listen from all 5 senses, right? I didn't know that growing up. I thought only listening was listening with my ears, right? But no, that's part of it, but not all of it, right? We can do better. So to be able to see beyond, we have to listen to those things, all 5 senses, right? You know, you know. That means we have to be focused, intentful, and prayerful and mindful, right? Emotionally, mental, spiritual, physical, right? So that's the way we listen. We listen spiritually, emotionally, mentally, and physically, right? You know. So that goes far beyond what we say. Oh, well, I'm just listening with my ears. That means I can write something down, but I'm still listening to something. No, that's kind of like that's something else. That's not listening. That's being, like, I would dare to say that's being unfocused, right? You know, oh, I'm still listening to you. I'm just writing something down. No, you're not even listening then. And then, like, the other part of listening is listening to respond, or listening to be right. And again, like, if we want to bring in humility medicine, you know, we don't listen to be right. We listen to understand. Right. Write that one down. Right. Right. Listening to be greater than. Right. 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 Listening to be more than. Right. That's not listening. That's something else. Right. 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 So listening, all 5 senses. Right. Write that down. Listening, the medicine wheel, spiritual, emotional, mental, physical. That means we have to be focused in on you, emotionally, looking at looking mentally, you know, looking at you, listening to you. Right. Mentally saying to yourself that I'm listening to hear you and to understand you, not to be right or wrong, because we confuse it too, right? Because we want to be right. We want to look good, sound good, and be right, right? Which is less important than understanding you. Because when I hear you, then I get the opportunity to love you, right? But if I'm trying to be right, then how can I love you, right? And again, that's the polarity between, the red road and the colonial road, right? Because, they want to be right. They want to make more money. They want to be better than, instead of a part of, right? Here in the red road, what has brought me peace and serenity is when I listen to understand you, right? Yeah. Because when I want to be better than you, I'm not living in full circle, right? So that's why the elders, when you listen to an elder, they just kind of sit there, right? They're focused in on you, right? Grandfather Tony had this beautiful medicine that like early in my walk, when I was battered, bruised, beaten, and bewildered, by that colonial world. He was really the first person in the world that made me feel special, right? Because he was listening to me, right? You know, you know. When we feel hurt, that's when the healing really begins, right? Right. And that you can write down too. When we feel hurt, that's when the healing begins, right? You know, like if I'm talking to, David, and I'm trying to tell him I'm better than him, like he's not feeling heard, and he's not feeling appreciated, and he's not, like, it's creating that separation. Again, back to that patriarchal, you know, um, you know, you know, back to the patriarchy here, where I want to be here, and the rest of everybody is down here. Like the Pope is up here, the President is up here, everybody's CEOs are up here, and the rest of us are all down here. That's not the way. That's not the way the circle works. The circle works is that we are intertwined and overlapping. So if you want to hear better, see better, listen better, we sit in a circle equally and listen to those things. And that, like again, it's a really simple formula. It's difficult to walk, but a really simple formula. So, like close your eyes. I was in the Black Hills this weekend, right? And I closed my eyes, and I could see better the water flowing, right? We see better with our eyes closed. When I'm doing ceremony, when I'm in ceremony, I see more with my eyes closed, right? That's just the way it is, right? So when I was playing the flute, when I was listening, when I was really visualizing the water, I was like I had my eyes closed. I could feel the water. I could feel the water in me flowing. That's what's supposed to happen. That's part of my journey, to see beyond and beyond, to feel beyond. When we're sitting next to the water, sticking my feet in that cold, crisp, clear water, then I was able to see better, right? Right, because we are all related. One thing mirrors another, right? So hearing is not separated from the eyes. The eyes are separated from the hearing. They are really one beautiful thing that makes us feel what? Whole and a part of. And then, like if we want to bring that beautiful recovery conversation in, then once we're part of that, the drinking and drugging just go away. It's like not even like, so, there's a little bit in your face with the 12-step program, the colonial 12-step program. It's like we're not a disease, right? There's a disconnection to life. And when we connect to life, that beautiful thing is not a disease, right? Like it's my feeling, and I prayed about this too. There's no gene, there's no Indians. Oh man, Indians have to have that gene. We can't take our alcohol. No, screw that. Sorry, just like forget that, right? There's certain behaviors we do when we are disconnected from life, right? And like trauma and abuse brings us away from life, right? But when we connect to life, then that drinking and drugging and all those other behaviors, they simply just fade away, because they can't be in the same space that love and life and truth are. Humility, right? So humility, connecting to those medicines that bring us humility. Mother Earth is humility, is love, is truth, is they can't even be in the same room, right? Right. So we're people. We're not a disease, right? They love to label us, but not help us, right? But their job is to keep us sick, and no better way to keep us sick than sitting in a 12-step room and say, "Oh, you have a disease. You're a disease," right? So that's not my experience. I don't even say that anymore. It's just like, well, let me connect to those things that give us life, and that sounds a lot like, I love you, which means I want you to live your very best life. That means I want you to be spiritually healthy. spiritually wealthy, to connect to all those things that bring you life, right? To all the Mother Earth, fire, water, fire, water, sun, rain, all these things that are a reflection of the four elements that work cohesively together. Our minds and bodies are supposed to work cohesively together, but without Mother Earth, there's really no way to do that. Without the animals showing us, without the elders showing us, there's really no way to become full circle and to be really healthy and spiritually wealthy. I love you. You know, right. And there's a comment here, feeling from our heart. Well, that's like okay, but I think there's a better place. We feel again from all five senses, right? Not just from our hearts, right? If we see with all five senses, if we listen to all five senses, if we smell with all five, that's really full circle. We don't want to go that rabbit hole where we just feel from our hearts, because it's completely dismissing the rest of us, right? We have five senses for a reason. That's a beautiful, powerful gift, right? So let's honor that. Let's use that, right? So when we feel from our heart, that means the definition of that is we're supposed to be listening, hearing, listening, feeling, seeing with all five senses. That's how we listen from our hearts, or feel from our heart, right? We're very confused about how to do that. So we feel from our heart with all five senses, and that you can write down. I love you. I want you to live a good life, right? So just seeing, here, closing, that's it's more, and really that's what we're talking about here. Cannot see and cannot hear, and listening is the first form of communication too. So listening with our hearts is listening with all five senses. Yeah. Seeing with our heart is seeing with all five senses. Touching with our heart is touching with all five senses. Smelling from our heart is all, and this beautiful thing, what they're telling here, that this just gets better and better and better and better, right? So a lot of us, including myself, are just at the early sunrise of my spiritual experience, and that you can write down too. We are all just beginning, and I don't care if I've been here for 30 years or 40 years, or whatever. I still feel like, and I never want this to go away, then I am just at the beginning of my spiritual experience, right? Like my spiritual growth, right? I am just learning how to love after 30 years, right? And that's okay, because we left that thing at the door as we come sit here walking the red road. And we say walking because the price has to be paid, right? Sitting in the red room, I don't know, it's kind of static, right? We have to be walking, the price has to be paid. That's part of the spiritual experience. So we just can't sit in a room of like a 12-step program and expect to get recovery. The price has to be paid. That means, the Red Road talks about sitting with humility and understanding humility. Again, we talked about that the other day. That's talking about being grateful for life. Grateful is an action, right? Humility is an action. Love is an action. Truth is an action, and that you can write down, right? And we can hear better. We can hear gratitude better when we're actually in action, right? That's something that world don't tell you about, right? In action, and there's a place of stillness and solitude. I know that, right? So there's a healthy balance of both, right? But in the end, we're going to have to do something. We're going to have to get off our chair and actually do something. And, one of those first things that we do on the Red Road is offer something to live full circle, right? So we offer something for our prayers, right? And, again, the basic thing is the 30-day challengers. They really understand this, right? So the 30-day challenge, and I'm going to wrap this up in about 30 minutes. So I'm just getting warmed up here. I don't know what to, so gratitude is an action, love is an action, truth is an action, humility is an action, right? Humility, it was commenting the other day, I forget who it was. So humility is offering, is offering something for our prayers to be heard, right? Which really flies in the face of any kind of colonial thing, because in the colonial religion, we just ask for this. Hey God, I need more money. God, I believe in you, and my belief is the only way that I can get anything. That's like completely, that's something else, right? Over here, the red room, we physically offer for our spiritual experience, and that you can write down. We physically offer for our spiritual experience, right? Right. So, right. So, I'm not sure we talked about the reading. I love you. I love you guys, man. It's just been another beautiful, So let's read this a couple of times, and then we'll jump into the announcements, and then we'll kind of wrap it up here. So, Whispers from the Hollow Bone. Creator, teach me to see the things I cannot see with my eyes. That means seeing with all five senses, right? That means we can see better with our eyes closed than we do open, because we're connected to this beautiful thing. The whole thing here is talking about connection, right? Connection to something that gives us life, right? Not something better, but something that gives us life. Not something better than you or me. It's just something that is equal to, right? And that's really important that we understand that, So teach me to see those things I cannot see, beyond and beyond, right? So that place of humility is, we have to understand that in our spiritual growth, we have to look beyond and beyond and say, hey, look, there's something beautiful. There's something even more beautiful than what we have now. Right? And gratitude brings us to that place of what we have now is a beautiful thing. That's a full circle right there. So there's something even greater for you. So it kind of flies in the face of that kind of that stagnant colonial. Well, this is as good as it gets type thing, and. But and the fact is, in spiritual realms, we can level up, right? Right. Sit in the same circle and level up. That means feel better. It means serenity. That means happiness. Right. Right. Those are the spiritual places that we feel more serene with ourselves. Hey, look, and that looks like I have something to offer. There's a place of value for me. And the more I walk this red road, the more I'm going to see that value and my value and what I have to offer in this world. And, that's a really beautiful place, because, that colonial one tells you that there's lack, there's not enough, there's this, this is as good as it gets type thing, right? You're lucky to have what you have, right? And, you need to believe in me to get, it's kind of, you have to believe in him, right? So everything goes through him, the Father, whatever that is, right? That will keep us stagnant and broken. Whatever here in the red road, this just gets better the more we walk with, the more we sit, we listen, the more we listen with all five senses. So, okay. Again, I'm running way over here. Can I see with my eyes and learn? I took to learn it, right? Let's just cover that another time. And learn to listen to those things that I cannot hear with my ears. Okay. Would love to hear. Here's like another thing too, and somebody wrote this down yesterday. I love when you say, Sandy Barron, what is your takeaway? And that person said, I would love to hear other people's takeaway too. So, what is your takeaway from today? What is your takeaway from We Are the Medicine Circle, Whispers from the Hollow Bone, December 27th? Because there's so many, right? There's so many. So just pick one or two, and just put that in there. Right there. Okay. Announcements. Okay, we're going to have to wrap this up eventually. So, announcement. Men's Circle tonight. Okay. Men's Circle tonight. So if you want, and I think Tony was here earlier, I'm not sure if he's here, there's information there. So please put your information for men only. So men have certain issues. So we are going to talk about that tonight. I am a part of that. I'm not running that. So they asked me to be a part of that. So very, very beautiful. So for that also, okay. All right. Workshop announcement, Journey Through the Seasons with Denise Miller and myself, strengthening our recovery, which is really strengthening our connections to what? To life, right? So strengthening our intentions to life, to honor, pretty much what we talked about here, right? So strengthening our relationship to what? To life, to recovery, to getting out of that colonial and learning to live a really good, beautiful, powerful life, which we all have the opportunity to do. So we have a free Zoom this Saturday, 9 a.m. And the actual workshop is June 16th through June 18th. It is Journey Through the Season. We have done fall and winter, spring, and sorry. And now we are at summer. Not too late to join. So if you would like more information, please contact myself or Denise Miller, and we'd be happy to sign you up. That could be, the thing is, there was a question yesterday. Well, what's this about? So with We Are the Medicine, really guided by the masculine here. What's so beautiful about the workshop is Denise Miller, beautiful, beautiful grandmother, and we just work off each other so beautifully, and so well. So it really gives. Oh, okay, hold on. I think I think Tony just. Men's Circle isn't until. Oh yes. Oh, so going back to the first announcement, Men's Circle isn't until 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So that's when, and I'm going to throw you in the bus here, Tony. Just men, get in contact with Tony or myself. I'm sorry, Tony. I love you, brother. So anyway, okay, workshop announcements done. Okay, so let's. I love you. Just close your eyes. Let the Standing Nation take us out. Sorry, new flute. Kept it a little bit short. The final word is the ceremony may end, but the ceremony in you does not end. So let's take what we lived here and learned here, loved here and listened to here, and take it out to the four winds. It's no good to be all spiritual here. That means it goes far beyond hitting that share button. That means taking it here. Share it here first. When you share it here first, then it goes to our families, and then it goes to our communities, and then it goes to our nations. If it doesn't go here first, and then it won't go to any of those places. So let's hit that share button with those people, places, and things that need to hear what we are, the Medicine Circle, what we are doing. We have changed the world, but what we are doing here. My name is Kanipo Makwa, and if no one said that, they love you today. I love you very much. Let's have a great day. Bye-bye.